everyone. It's been a while, but I am back in the kitchen, and today I'm making a blueberry crumble. It's fall here in the northeastern United States, and blueberry crumble sounds really good. So let's get started on this recipe. I actually found this recipe in, and I cut it out in a newspaper. And it turns out that the recipe is from, it's by Chris Kimball. He has a show called Milk Street, I think it is. Anyway, this recipe was in the paper and they used tahini in it, and I thought it sounded pretty intriguing. And it's funny because there's a little note that says about using fresh or frozen blueberries, and then it says see note, and there was no note. There's no note to see. So I went online to try to look it up to see what the note was, and it says the same thing online when you find the recipe. So I'm like, is there something special that should be done to these frozen blueberries or not? And I ended up finding another recipe using tahini from the site Feasting on Fruit. And so what I did is I ended up combining the two recipes and kind of giving it my own spin, because the one by Chris Kimball uses like a whole stick of butter, and I didn't really want to do that, and different sugar. And anyway, I took a little bit of both, and that's what we're going to do today. So to start out with, I have 1 cup of rolled oats, just regular old organic oats, 1 cup of those, and 1/3 of a cup of flour. So in the Feasting on Fruit recipe, she called for oat flour, and I really didn't want to dirty my grinder by making oat flour, so I just used regular all-purpose flour. You could, I'm sure, use gluten-free flour or any other kind of flour that you would like, but that's what I used, just plain old all-purpose flour. So to this we're going to add a 1/4 cup of tahini. Now my tahini that I had left was kind of at the bottom of the jar, so it's not really runny, it's pretty lumpy, so we'll see how this comes out. We're just going to add this into the bowl. Yeah, it's a big old lump of tahini. I used all the good runny stuff, I guess, without mixing it thoroughly all the time. And we also now have 2 tablespoons of maple syrup that we're going to add. And I'm also going to add 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, a teaspoon of cinnamon, and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. In the Milk Street recipe, he calls for all brown sugar, quite a bit of it. In Feasting on Fruit, she calls for maple syrup. I kind of like the brown sugar in the topping of a crumble, but I don't want to use too much brown sugar, and because my tahini is so stiff and not very runny, I thought I could use a little maple syrup to give it a little more moisture. We'll see how this works out. If I need to, I might add a little more maple syrup, I don't know. So I have this, I have a fork, and I also have a pastry cutter. I think I'm going to try the pastry cutter, like I said, just because of my tahini being really stiff. Yeah, I think this is working better than the fork, the pastry cutter for sure. So it's coming together. You see how that's getting crumbly. So I think we may be okay with the moisture level here. All right, let me just finish doing this for another couple minutes, and then I'll be back and we'll start with the blueberries. Okay, so that did it. I kept working it with the pastry cutter, and what I did though, it was a little bit dry, so probably because my tahini was kind of dry, so I did add a little drizzle more of maple syrup and worked that in, and it looks great. It looks nice and crumbly now, so I'm going to set that aside. But I'm sure if you had runny tahini, it would probably be fine. Now in the Milk Street, in the Chris Kimball recipe, he uses like a whole stick of butter in the topping, so little difference there. So now we're going to use the blueberries. I had frozen organic blueberries, so that's what I'm using. There's about, that one got away. There's about 4 to 5 cups in here. I used this 4-cup Pyrex measuring cup, so it's not completely accurate. I don't think it really matters. So I have about between 4 and 5 cups of blueberries. And then I have 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, and I'm just going to sprinkle the cornstarch. You can also use tapioca starch, or I don't know, probably agar or something like that. And then I'm just going to mix that to coat the blueberries. And this is going to give us like a thicker syrup once the blueberries release their juices when they're baking. Okay, what else? Anything else has to go in here? 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. Going here. Like I said, I've never made this before, so we'll see how it comes out. It just sounded kind of intriguing to me. And typically, this is what happens. Either I may not have an ingredient, or I want to substitute ingredients, and I just kind of play around and see what happens. Oh, and a tablespoon of lemon juice goes in here as well. Now, I love this thing, you guys. See this? It's, I don't know if you've ever seen this or if you have one, but it is awesome. It has the little juicer on top, right, for your orange, limes, lemons, and then it has all the measurements. Can you see that? I don't know if you can see that. All the measurements. It has all the measurements on the side: teaspoons, tablespoons, ounces, milliliters. So cool. It's one. I swear to God, it's one of my favorite and most used little kitchen gadgets. I love it. Okay, so these are all tossed up now, and I have this 8x8 Pyrex, glass Pyrex dish, and I did spray it with a little spray. You can use coconut oil, olive oil, no oil. I don't know if it would really stick that much, maybe a little bit, but I don't think it would be that big of a deal. I just spritzed it a little bit. Now I'm just going to pour the blueberries in, and see all this goodness. I'm not going to let that go to waste. That's all getting scraped down and poured in. I don't want to waste any of it. Okay, so just kind of push your bowl away. So just kind of even out the berries. Right, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my hand. Well, first I'm going to fluff this up a little bit. It doesn't get all under my nails. And I'm just going to kind of crumble it on. Kind of squeeze it a little bit. I like to have, do you like that? Do you like when you have like a crumble and there's like clumps, like a big clump of, so if you squeeze it in your hand after it's been sitting for those couple of minutes, you can get some nice clumps. So when you're eating it, you can have that nice chunk of topping. But really, that's it. It's pretty easy. I mean, it's a basic crumble. You could use any kind of fruit, berries, strawberries, cherries. Cherries would be really good, right? Apple, you can use apple. I just don't know how it's going to be with the tahini. That's a whole new twist on things. But I like tahini, so. I mean, tahini has, if you've never had tahini before, tahini has like a kind of a bitter taste, which I know sounds gross, but when you combine it with, something sweet, it's nutty. It's sweet and nutty. It's used a lot in Middle Eastern cooking and in Middle Eastern desserts. So that's it. We're going to put this in a 350-degree oven, and we're going to check it after around 30 to 35 minutes and see if it's bubbling and getting brown and crispy. Here it is. Ooh. looks yummy. Okay, so the blueberry crumble is out of the oven. It smells so good. Oh my gosh, you guys, you know how anything made with cinnamon just smells so good. So I'm gonna let it sit, cool off. I don't really like really hot desserts, like hot anything really, but I think I'll have a little taste of the topping. Oh my gosh. Okay, you have to try this. The tahini in the topping is so good. You almost wonder, like, is there like peanut butter? No, not peanut butter. You know there's something, but you can't quite put your finger on what it is. It's that tahini sweetened with the brown sugar and the maple syrup, a little pinch of salt. Oh my gosh, that is so good. Just the topping itself. I would actually make granola. Maybe I'll make granola that way. Future video idea, right? Granola made with tahini. I think that could be a hit. Okay guys, thanks for watching my video today, and I will show you the finished product later after dinner when I serve it up. Okay, I almost forgot to try the crumble. So let's put a little bit in a dish. It looks yummy. Look at that. I have some of this ready whipped non-dairy coconut milk whipped topping. Okay, moment of truth. Let me get a spoon. Okay, I have a spoon. Let's see. All right, let me turn. I'm a mess right now. It's late, and like I said, I almost forgot about this, so. Oh my gosh, this is so funny. I thought I turned my camera around, so I took the taste test, talked to you guys, and was done. I ate almost the rest of my crumble. And then I realized that I didn't have the camera on when I turned it back around. So anyway, oh my gosh, I told you I'm tired and it's late. Cheers, let's give it a try again. It is really good. So, why am I kind of open? What I ended up telling you guys when I thought I had the camera on before, but I didn't, is that it's really good, but if you look, here, let me see. Like most of the berries are still intact and they're like big, and I will make this again, but next time when I make it, I'm going to use the frozen wild blueberries, which I usually buy, but they didn't have them a couple of times, so I bought they had frozen organic, which is great, but they're bigger berries, bigger blueberries, and I've noticed that the smaller ones are sweeter, believe it or not, and they give off more liquid when you defrost them. Like these, I feel like they didn't give off a lot of liquid in the crumble, which I like that, and they're still pretty intact where I would have liked them, I don't know, you know, like mushy and just releasing all their moisture. So it's really good. It's not like I'm not going to eat it, but next time I'm going to try it with the frozen wild blueberries, which I think will be better, and with cherries. I think cherries will be really, really good. I probably have blueberry in my teeth. Sorry if I do. Like I said, I'm a mess right now because it's late and I'm tired. So I'm going to dish some of this out and go give some to my husband, and I will see you in the next video. Bye guys.